As the dust finally settles on Invincible Season 2, I've come to the conclusion that this is hands down the best superhero show out right now. Look, I absolutely love the nostalgia of X-Men 97, but this just feels unapologetically different and pulls no punches. The season finale, wow, was a lot to digest. I mean, it was dark, gritty, heavy, and hard-hitting. It reminds me of that famous quote from The Dark Knight: "You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain." And that's the dilemma that Mark has to come to grips with. Can you fight your DNA? Can you break this cycle? Or is it just another case of sins of the father? Now, since I finished this episode, I can't stop thinking about it. Things were literally on a knife's edge the whole time, and any mistake could have turned out badly for everyone. The name of the episode says it all. I mean, this speaks volumes. I thought you were stronger. You know, when you have great power, I know, it comes with great responsibility, and that's what Mark basically found out in this episode. Is there a certain line that you cross, and if you've already crossed that line, how do you come back from that? As a fan, I'm just happy to see one of my favorite graphic novels come to life on the small screen. The idea of turning this into an animated TV show was an absolute masterclass. Now, the father-son dynamic of Invincible makes the narrative so intriguing. We've seen it done before in comic book media, but not on this level, on this scale. As much as Mark is the main protagonist of the show, the same can basically be said about his father, Nolan. Their relationship is the heartbeat of the show, and if that didn't work, basically the whole thing would have just fallen apart. Now, the Viltrumite Empire feels like a genuine threat. Their presence looms over the entire story, and we haven't even scratched the surface yet. We haven't gotten to the real battles, Viltrumite versus Viltrumite. I love the fact that the show isn't afraid to take any risks. You'll come to understand why Anissa is the most hated character in the entire series. I'm not gonna go into that because it is dark subject matter. Now, the greatest strength of Invincible has always been its storytelling. I love how we can go from Mark Grayson being a normal teenager having no powers to becoming involved in an intergalactic war stretching across galaxies, and yet at no point does this feel too outlandish. The show basically wears its inspirations on its sleeves. I mean, you can clearly see how this show has been inspired by great comic books that has come before. During episode 8, you see a version of Spider-Man, not linked to Spider-Man directly, but it's clearly an homage to Spidey himself. Now, you can clearly see that Invincible has been inspired by Spider-Man, Superman, Batman, Green Lantern, and even Dragon Ball Z. Kirkman has literally taken bits and pieces from each of those books and crafted something unique, and he's built his own masterpiece in the form of Invincible. As much as the show sticks to the source material, it's not afraid to deviate and give a little more backstory and give us a little more insight as to what's actually happening behind the scenes. That's always a good sign, and personally I feel how an adaptation should be approached. I mean, if a lot of adaptations can have this type of approach, we'll have a lot of good entertainment that comes out. Having Robert Kirkman on board has proven to be the biggest win for the show. His input is invaluable. The show sticks to the ultra-violent nature of the comic book, although it doesn't quite hit the same as Ryan Ottley's artwork. I mean, guys, if you can go look at what Ryan does in the Invincible graphic novel, you'll be absolutely blown away. Although I love the art style of the TV show, it just doesn't live up to what Ryan has done If there was any way that they could speed up the process of doing the animation, I would have absolutely loved that, but I know it takes a while. So when we can expect season 3, at this point, it's still a mystery. But as a fan, I am so excited for people that are not familiar with the comic book just to experience what's about to happen in some of the seasons coming up ahead. We've barely scratched the surface. Although they managed to cram a lot of content into the 2 seasons that we've watched, basically 8 episodes each, there's still a lot of things that, you know, things are just gonna get worse from here. And I can 100% guarantee you, by the time this show is done, people are gonna be calling it one of the greatest comic book adaptations ever. I mean, that's how good Invincible is. It's a massive success. It has a cult following, and as the success of the show grows, you guys know who's gonna come knocking on the door. Hollywood, of course. Now, if I was in charge, basically this is my layout of how I would do this thing. Invincible deserves nothing less than a mature rating and a director who knows what they're doing. Now, right off the bat, I would say Steven Spielberg or Peter Jackson, but that's highly unlikely. So the only way this works is if they go the Harry Potter route by having 8 movies, and each of them must at least be 3 hours in length. Now, if I'm casting this thing, definitely Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Omni-Man, and of course Timothée Chalamet as Mark Grayson, which will never happen, but you guys can't blame me for dreaming, with Denis Villeneuve at the helm. That would be a perfect scenario, right? But that's just me. I'm glad Invincible is finally getting the spotlight it so rightly deserves. It's an amazing graphic novel, and people are finally getting to see Mark Grayson's story. It's been a long time in the making, and the wait for season 3 is gonna be absolutely excruciating. But the stakes are only gonna get higher from here, guys. I'm talking life or death. Any mistake, there's no coming back from it. So it's a show that doesn't shy away from brutality. Definitely not for the kids. Keep your kids away from this show, because the subject matter that they're gonna deal with in some of the seasons that's coming, it's gonna get very dark, guys. But it's a show that deserves your attention. I would say start with the comic books, and then you'll appreciate the Easter eggs and the nuggets that they put in the show a lot more. It's definitely worth checking out, guys. But that's it for me. Please let me know what you guys think about Invincible. Did you finish season 2? Why are you not watching this? You should be watching this. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, guys, and I will definitely catch you on the next video. And once again, thank you for watching.